"1,400 hazy miles. That's the distance between Washington, D.C. and clarity. At least it was for Christopher Ingram, the Washington Post reporter who wrote an article mentioning Red Lake County, Minnesota, and stepped in it.
I stumbled across this data set that the USDA had put together 10 years ago.
Government data measuring scenery and climate, blue being good and brown being bad, which led Chris to write this.
The absolute worst place to live in America is, drum roll please, Red Lake County, Minnesota. Claim to fame, it is the only landlocked county in the United States that is surrounded by just 2 neighboring counties, according to the county website. That's it. That's all I said.
Which he soon learned was enough.
There's people up in arms in town.
It was almost immediate.
It was the talk of the town.
The word was this guy was an idiot.
On social media, Chris was shamed. Literally shamed.
People were starting hashtags.
We got to do something about this guy.
But Jason Brunwell,
Yeah?
a local campground owner, took a different tack.
This is the email from Jason Brunwell.
Why don't you come out here and see it for yourself? We'd love to have you.
I thought it was some kind of trap.
Chris's wife, Brianna,
Realistically concerned for his safety.
couldn't have been more wrong.
So I drive up to the courthouse, and there's the color guard from the high school. Don't have to worry about pitchforks. Things are going to be okay.
Chris was introduced to Red Lake County's prettiest places and the nicest people, none of whom were prepared.
I didn't believe it.
When Chris announced a few weeks later he was moving here,
I read it like 3 times. I'm like, this can't be right.
turns out Chris and Brianna had been in the midst of an East Coast quandary. The parents of twin boys had outgrown their tiny row house. At the same time, Brianna wanted badly to leave her government job to raise their children.
My mom was like, well, why didn't you think about going to that nice town that you visited just a few weeks ago? Wouldn't that be fun? Those people seem so nice.
I needed some convincing.
No convincing anymore. The house the Ingrams bought in Red Lake Falls has given them more than twice the space at half the price.
Sure.
Chris is still a data reporter for the Washington Post, but traded his hour-and-a-half commute for a basement office he shares with 2 bunnies.
Hi, Daddy.
While Jack and Charlie play down the hall.
Instead of a coffee break, I take a toddler break.
No more nanny.
Okay.
Red Lake County's lower cost of living allows Brianna
I don't know how we'd be able to do this.
to stay home with the boys.
My DC friends are probably like going to cocktail parties and whatnot right now, but yeah, I'm standing here with sugar beets and a corn shock and a whole pile of gourds.
The entire bounty given to them by the very people Chris insulted.
People just drop by to say hello. That doesn't happen on the East Coast. And people were stopping by to welcome us with baskets and walleye.
People really wanted to just say welcome and, we're glad to have you.
Okay, the move to Red Lake Falls did come with concessions.
Yeah, restaurants. Definitely missed the restaurants.
Sampling every eatery in town takes exactly breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yes, the water tower's over there.
But feast your eyes
Jack, what's that over there?
on this.
Combine.
Reminds me of the ocean in many ways, just because it's so broad and vast, the farmlands. The sky is doing different things every single day.
The sky and the Ingrams.
I'm glad he came. He come to God's country.
Hayride.
A week after they moved in, I felt like they were already part of the community.
Give me a big hug. Oh.
Good job.
Already enough a part of the culture,
Hold it good and tight to your cheek.
Chris bought a deer hunting license.
Every time somebody accuses me of being an effete East Coast liberal who's out of touch with, Midwestern values, I'll just send them the video of me shooting flames out of the end of this thing, and that should shut things up pretty good, I think.
And if that doesn't,
Evidently, it's some sort of explosive.
this should.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Little more than a year ago, Chris Ingram called Red Lake County America's worst place to live.
They're like family now.
No better case has ever been made
Yeah, absolutely.
for dropping the data and dropping in.
You don't realize the hidden beauty that's really everywhere.
Boyd Huppert, KARE 11 News, Red Lake Falls.